Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We have an awful lot to discuss today. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely crazy in crypto. We've seen Bitcoin drop below $25,000 within the last couple of hours. We've seen a lot of fear around Tether, USDT. Is it depegging from the dollar? Where has this fear come from? We'll be talking about that today. And we're also going to take a look at what is happening with the regulators right now. It's all still in mayhem. Nothing is adding up. There's a lot of chaos in the markets right now. We need to talk about that. Yesterday, we were live streaming. We did 2 live streams yesterday. We did one in the morning talking about the latest crypto news. And then we did a live stream again yesterday evening, hearing what Jeremy Powell had to say. And now, that was a really interesting conversation there. We've picked out the key points from that, and we'll be talking about how that could affect the markets in today's stream. So make sure, as I said, to give us a big like, subscribe, press the bell notification button. If you're tuning in from a different platform, make sure to come over to our YouTube channel at Crypto Saving Expert. Let's take a look at what's going on now, though. So Bitcoin is down 4.17% in the last 24 hours to $24,873. And Ethereum is down 6.5% to $1,633. So we have obviously seen dramatic moves to the downside here. This is not what we wanted to see today, but we'll be talking about why right in a second. So as we reported on Tuesday now, the inflation rate in the US has declined to 4%. Now, it was at a high of 9.1 back in June 2022. And we did see that come nicely to the downside over time, thanks to the Fed hiking interest rates. Now, yesterday we heard what the Fed are going to do next. The Fed have decided that they're going to pause those interest rate hikes for the time being. Now, this is typically a positive thing for the markets. The markets do not like to see high interest rates. If interest rates are high, people aren't taking out as many loans. People are spending less money, and that's how the inflation declines. The economy is shrinking, and when people have less money to spend, they're not investing in risky assets like cryptocurrencies. So interest rates that are high are usually bad for the markets, and that's a typical trend there and has been for years and years and years. Now, yesterday, we did hear that interest rate hikes have stopped, so there was not change in interest rate hikes after seeing increase after increase after increase in the US. So this is technically a positive thing. We've seen those interest rate hikes come to a pause. Now, that is a positive thing. However, we don't think we've seen the end of this just yet. It's looking like it's a temporary pause. Now, we have seen that the Fed expect to have 2 more interest rate hikes within this year, and they don't expect to be cutting these interest rate hikes, cutting the interest rates for a couple of years following this as well. So the actual conversation he had, the speech he gave, was pretty neutral, and then he went on to answer questions and we heard some more opinions there. They are still looking at evaluating the interest rates every single meeting to see what changes they should make, but as of now the interest rates are the same. Now, I do believe this was already priced in for Bitcoin. We did see some volatility yesterday, but not huge amounts, to be honest. If we take a look at the 1 hour chart, you can see where the volatility was, but it wasn't that insane. So this is the actual candle on which, no, that's not. So it was Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Where are we? Here we go. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. I mean, as soon as we got into the 1 minute chart, we're going to be able to see where it was. The speech was at, why have I lost it? Am I on UTC time here? Yeah, this time is not the time zone I'm in. That's why it's all a crazy mess there. But essentially, we saw some volatility, and then we quickly retraced back to where we were. So it wasn't the volatility that I think a lot of us were hoping for. I do believe the interest rate pause was already priced in. That was highly anticipated following that decline in inflation that came out on Tuesday. So we do need to keep an eye on this, and that uncertainty of the future and those potential interest rate hikes in the future have had a negative impact on the market right now. Let's take a look at what else is happening in crypto, though. So these are the main points we can take away from the speech yesterday. So the Fed have said that they expect inflation to hit 2.5% at the end of 2024. However, they have reiterated their view that 2% inflation is their target. They don't see inflation below 2% for at least another 1.5 years. And the Fed may have paused, but elevated interest rates are here to stay. Fighting inflation is incredibly difficult. So although we've had this one pause, it's not the end of the road. We are going to see some more problems in the future. It is expected we are going to see more interest rate hikes, specifically 2 this year, and we are expecting to see a long road ahead to get to that 2% goal. That has been a mission for a long time now. I mean, to say we've come from 9.1% in June 2022 to 4% is a solid move, but there's still a long way to go here. Let's take a look at the next article though and see what else is going on. So the US House Committee debates the future of crypto and new legislation to be drafted in July. So the US House Financial Service Committee members held a hearing on achieving regulatory clarity for crypto, the thing we have been fighting for years. The committee chair aims to have legislation drawn up following the 4th of July recess. So the House Committee meeting held 2 days ago, was titled The Future of Digital Assets, Providing Clarity for the Digital Asset Ecosystem. And the main topic of the discussion was the recent draft bill, Digital Assets Market Structure. So we have reported on this previously. And this is essentially us trying to get clarity on cryptocurrency, and it will prevent the SEC from classifying decentralized crypto assets as securities and hand complete control over the regulation of digital commodities to the CFTC. So currently we use the Howey test to determine whether an asset is a commodity or a security. That was created in 1946. It's not clear how we can determine which digital asset falls into which category because it doesn't really fit on this new industry. So we need some more clarity on this. We need to be able to determine whether digital assets are commodities or securities easily without having bias playing a part in that decision, because that just makes it so unclear. So we can see here that this draft bill, the Digital Asset Market Structure Discussion Draft, outlines the responsibilities of the 2 regulatory bodies, the SEC and the CFTC. So this is the major problem here. We always talk about whether an asset is a security or a commodity. The main thing here is that if it's a security, it's regulated by the SEC. If it's a commodity, it's regulated by the CFTC. So they're the 2 big differences there. Now, we have had Brian Armstrong fighting, the CEO of Coinbase, fighting for clarity on this regulation and creating petitions, trying to get clarity on the regulation. He's been looking at other jurisdictions and regions and seeing how they regulate cryptocurrency. He's actually praised the way that the UK regulates cryptocurrency because it's all regulated through one regulatory body, the FCA, which makes it so much more simple. Having these 2 regulatory bodies fighting over which assets they can regulate is an absolute nightmare. So the Act legalizes the secondary trading of digital assets, even if they were initially sold as investment contracts. So this was trying to give us key points that could help us determine whether it was an asset is a security or a commodity, just like the Howey test, but specifically designed for digital assets here. So let's take a look if they are in the article. The project must not have a defined head of operations, and no one entity should own over 20% of the asset. The SEC may object to the certification if the SEC determines the certification is inconsistent with the Act, but must provide a detailed analysis of its reason for doing so. So this is a big step forward for the cryptocurrency industry. Now, we did see on Tuesday the debates around the future of crypto and this new legislation, which is to be drafted in July. Now, we have seen some oppositions to the bill, and Waters believe the SEC is taking action against Binance and other firms for potentially similar behavior to FTX that led to the arrest of disgraced CEO SBF. And this provisional legislation could reward bad actors with a get-out-of-jail-free card. He's also said all securities laws, which have worked for every other industry for 90 years, can also work for crypto firms. Now, that is something that I have to disagree with. And we can see here that American competitiveness is at risk. We could see that Chairman McHenry questioned this and said, Europe is far more advanced than we are. We Americans, venture capitalists, now deploying offices there to invest. Do you think consumers are protected here in the US by our lack of clear rules? No, they are not. So that is what we are looking at here. I'm seeing somebody in the chat saying, can we skip on to the good stuff where we talk about USDT? We will get to that today. That is towards the end of today's stream, but we will get to that. We'll be talking about the Tether Fund and seeing what's going on there. Before we continue today's stream, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look at this. This next article here. We've got a few interesting stories here today, and then we will get onto that Tether news there. So first of all, the vast majority of crypto tokens are securities, according to the former SEC chair, Jay Clayton, which, I mean, they can give these opinions, but they need to provide clarity and transparency on how they have come to these conclusions. Let's move on to the next one here. We can see the Hinman docs show the SEC is totally confused on regulating crypto. So the Hinman docs are the documents for the very popular speech that was made in 2018. And this has been revealed following the lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple. SEC did not want these documents to be public, but Ripple pushed and pushed and pushed, and the courts agreed to show us all what was inside these documents. And although it hasn't really helped out with Ripple's case, it's really put some questions out for the regulators that they really should answer. So the release of the documents, which many XRP investors believed would provide regulatory clarity on whether the remittance coin is a security, has provided insights into the challenges the SEC has experienced in regulating the cryptocurrency industry. The SEC is confused on how to regulate crypto, according to Tyler Winklevoss. So he's tweeted on Wednesday that the Hinman documents show the SEC is confused and guidelines were unclear when dealing with digital assets. The emails show that the SEC itself is totally confused on how to regulate crypto. Now, we did report on this yesterday. We went through the documents and discussed on the key points that are within them. Everyone, including the SEC, knows that securities laws written in 1933 don't meet the realities of the world today. And that is something that I've been advocating for here on the channel over and over again. Another thing he has said, there are two choices: update the law, taking a first principles approach, or be left behind. What does being left behind mean? Industry moves offshore, brain drain, lost jobs, lost economic growth, national security risk. US does not participate in developing future financial rails. And then I imagine the US will be scrambling to catch up again. So that is something I can agree with in that news article there. For more information on this, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com, the best cryptocurrency news source out there. We also have completely free guides. We have free cryptocurrency courses, and we have that market data there as well, so you can see what's going on in the markets at that point in time. I mean, I don't even think you'll want to be looking at the markets at this point in time, but in case you do, in case you're a Bitcoin bear and a cryptocurrency bear and you're shorting the markets right now, I don't think it's a pretty sight, so maybe leave that one till tomorrow. Let's see what else is going on here. So we have bankrupt Bittrex.us crypto exchange to open withdrawals on the 15th of June. So the crypto exchange Bittrex will have access to their funds for withdrawal beginning Thursday. I don't know how many of you in the chat will have been affected by this. So they filed for bankruptcy on the 8th of May, and we are now seeing its users being able to withdraw some of those funds. Now I think my mouse is about to die, which is not the best thing to happen on a stream here. South Korean crypto exchange Delio halts withdrawals after Haru Invest service suspension. So their CEO revealed that Haru Invest service suspension directly hit the crypto platform, as both firms have a transactional relationship. One exchange is opening withdrawals and one is halting them. Another one here. Bankrupt crypto broker Voyager to reopen customer withdrawals next week. Let's continue on though. Binance seeks to deregister its Cyprus units. We are seeing, because of different efforts of regulation, different cryptocurrency exchanges are moving in different ways, moving from one region to the next. Let's take a look at what else is on the cards today though. We are about to get to the Tether news, so please bear with me, and then we'll be analysing the price of Bitcoin as well. So an arbitrage brought bot used $200 million to secure a profit of just $3.24. So what's happened here is they've secured a flash loan worth $200 million to secure a profit of $3.24. So a flash loan is a loan that you can take out and repay within the same block on the blockchain, and this means that you don't actually have to pay any transaction fees here as well with this kind of loan. So they've managed to use $200 million, borrow $200 million, buy the token, sell the token, and then repay the loan all within one transaction, all within one block. Now, this is really beneficial because it means people can arbitrage trade very, very quickly without paying huge amounts of fees and without of interest and without having too much risk. So arbitrage trading is when we buy an asset for less on one exchange and then sell it for more on another exchange and make that profit between the difference between the two prices. Now, obviously, the difference in those two prices can be very, very small if we have a huge amount of money that we can arbitrage trade with. And this is why people take advantage of flash loans. If you can use $200 million worth of someone else's money and take advantage of that gap in the prices, you can make a huge amount of money. And these are trading bots. They are automated and they can work all around the clock to try and make profits in this way. And this has been seen as a very profitable strategy in the past. It has got harder over time. The more bots that are there, the more people that are taking up the opportunities. And the way you're buying on an exchange that has a lower price than another, it's going to push the price up. And when you're selling on an exchange that has a higher price than another, it's going to push the price down, and that's how we actually keep these the prices of these assets in sync across the board. Anyway, this flash loan has not been too profitable, or as profitable as the creator would have hoped, I imagine. But let's take a look at the next article here and see what else is going on. So Connect Labs raised $7.5 million to build the HTTP of Web3. So the development team behind blockchain interoperability protocol Connect announced that it secured $7.5 million in another strategic round, valuing the firm at $250 million. So Connect's total funding now stands at $23.2 million. So let's take a look at this. The newly raised funds will be used to establish and run the Connect Foundation, which will oversee the protocol's development and the expansion of the Connect ecosystem via development grants and financing for community-led initiatives. Connect's underlying technology, described as the HTTP of Web3, serves as a communication layer on top of existing blockchain infrastructure, allowing developers to build interchain applications accessible from any network and interact with tokens and data cross-chain simultaneously. So if you want more information on this, make sure to go to CryptoSavingExpert.com. We also have an article over there where we talk about 6 of the best alternative cryptocurrency exchanges. So if you want to look for a new cryptocurrency exchange and you don't know where to look, maybe check out this article where we can give you the pros and cons of all of the different cryptocurrency exchanges. In fact, I'll drop the link for that in the chat below. I know a lot of people are looking for alternative cryptocurrency exchanges right now, as many of the top cryptocurrency exchanges are under regulatory scrutiny. Let's take a look at this prediction. Actually, let's do this after the Tether news. We want to get onto the Tether news first. We'll do that after the Tether news as well. I know what you all want to hear about. So USDT selling on Curve, Uniswap spooks traders amid Bitcoin drop. So we can see here that USDT's holding on Curve's popular 3 pool has risen to over 72% as of Thursday morning, suggesting a sudden disbalance. So what's happened here is people are dropping their USDT in favor of USDC and in favor of DAI on popular Uniswap and Curve pools. So this is why the amount of USDT in these pools have increased. Now, if we take a look at the USDT US dollar chart, you can see that USDT has seen a slight move to the downside. Now, I would like to sort of distinguish, what's it called? I don't know what the word is. Get rid of some of this FUD and see, like, we have fluctuations like this all of the time. You can see this over and over. I mean, this is on the daily chart. How many spikes have we had like this within the past year? So many, but this FUD just seems so strong in the markets right now. If we take a look at USDC, USD, we can see that that has had some fluctuations in the past as well. Now, if we take a look at DAI USD, let's get that up there. You can see we've seen fluctuations with this one too. Now, USDT have become more and more transparent with their reserves, and they've shown their reserves over time. Now, in the olden days, they weren't that transparent, they weren't that clear. No one really knew if they actually had the amount, the reserves that they said they had, but they've really tried to become more transparent over recent years, and they do. I hope so. They have the reserves they say they have. Now, this is up for debate. USDT has managed to hold its peg for a long time throughout the turbulence of the cryptocurrency industry that many other stablecoins have struggled to do. But that doesn't mean it's going to be around forever. I mean, history doesn't mean the future, but right now, all we are seeing is people on Uniswap and Curve pools are dumping their USDT and trading it in for USDC and DAI. Now, could this be that the fear is spreading? People are hearing this news and thinking, do you know what? I'd rather be safe than sorry, because a lot of people's fingers were burned in the UST collapse in May 2022. Or are people doing this because they know something that we don't? Do the big whales know something that we don't? That's the question that's on everyone's minds right now. And right now, I really wouldn't say that this price action was out of the ordinary. We are seeing a lot of Tether FUD spread, though, on social media platforms, and that can impact the price as well. So we do need to keep an eye on this. Now, I would also like to point out that Tether FUD usually comes at a local bottom. Not saying this is a local bottom, but we do see a lot of FUD when the markets are about to reverse. So maybe there is more FUD to come, but at the end of the FUD, there always seems to be a rally. So I'm waiting until then, keeping a close eye on the markets. I would like to say also that this is not the time to leave the cryptocurrency industry when everything seems like it's at its worst. In fact, it's one of the most exciting times to be in the cryptocurrency industry. So we will be doing these live streams here on the channel every single weekday, talking about what's going on in the markets, taking a look at the cryptocurrency news, analyzing the price of Bitcoin. So if you have not already, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to press that bell notification button. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the world of crypto. So Bitcoin will 10x from here and 10x again, according to MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor, known for being a Bitcoin bull and known for being a Bitcoin maxi. MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor has said the regulators do not see a clear path for cryptocurrencies like stablecoins, crypto securities like the tokens mentioned. Their view is crypto exchanges should trade and hold pure digital commodities like Bitcoin. The entire industry is kind of destined to be rationalized down to Bitcoin-focused industry with maybe half of a dozen to a dozen other proof-of-work tokens. I think there have been a lot of confusion because of the 25,000 other cryptos and because of all the crypto securities angling themselves as the next Bitcoin. I think the public is now beginning to realize that Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Now, I'm not 100% a Bitcoin maxi, but I do not believe that there is a next Bitcoin. I do think that Bitcoin has proven itself over the years. It's the first token of its kind. It's a peer-to-peer network, and I don't think that is something that can be replaced. I mean, I also think the same for Ethereum. We always hear of Ethereum killers. Solana was meant to be an Ethereum killer. There's lots of projects out there that try and be the next big thing, and some of them can be. For example, in meme coins, we can see the next big meme coin. Pepe did a great example of that. But with Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think they will be incredibly hard to be replaced because they have that longevity in them. They've shown over time that they are the most popular network, and they continue to be so, and they continue to build upon themselves. And yes, even if Bitcoin wasn't even if another token came around, proof of work token, peer-to-peer network, faster transaction speeds than Bitcoin, cheaper transaction fees than Bitcoin, I would still choose Bitcoin. I just don't believe right now. I mean, I might be completely wrong. Nothing is financial advice, but I just don't believe right now that a Bitcoin killer could come along and be the next Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. So I do agree with Michael Saylor on that. However, I don't take as much as of a Bitcoin maxi perspective on things. He believes that all of the altcoins are basically rubbish and Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that should survive. But he does believe, however, that the next logical step is for Bitcoin to 10x from here and then 10x again. So eventually I have confidence that the crypto exchanges will come around to realizing that Bitcoin really is the dominant asset in this space. Now, I do believe it is a very important asset. It always has, and it probably always will take number one spot in my portfolio. It's what I perceive to be the least risk, the lowest risk asset out of all of the cryptocurrencies. Obviously, that is not financial advice. That is my own opinion. But we will see what happens. The regulators are going after all of these altcoins and naming them as securities as time goes on. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But let's take a look at this tweet here as well. This is an interesting debate. So, as Michael Saylor was just saying, these exchanges are going to find it harder and harder in the US to offer altcoins unless we get some clarity on the regulation and we can understand how to determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity and properly divide the two. Now, is there going to be an upcoming narrative which pushes for proof of work tokens, which pushes for tokens, regulated tokens? So some that come to mind here are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, Doge, Litecoin. So currently monitoring relative strength on these tokens versus the securities basket may present some opportunities on bounces. So could the narrative develop for non-security or SEC safe tokens? So what's happened in the last couple of weeks is that the SEC have named altcoins in their filings against popular cryptocurrency exchanges, Binance and Coinbase. And these projects are trying to fight back and say, we're not securities. Why have you named us as a security within these filings? But it could push a new narrative forwards in the next couple of weeks, which really pushes on regulated cryptocurrencies. So let's take a look at what else is going on here. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin now. Please don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. If we take a look at the daily chart here, we are down to these lower levels. We're down, right now we're just above $25,000, but it's been a close call. So let's take a look at this on the daily chart. In fact, let's go to the weekly chart first. Let's zoom right out and then we can zoom back in again here. So where have we had a strong level of resistance? Looking at this point here, I'm going to go for that lower one. $24,200 on the weekly chart was an incredibly strong level of resistance in previous times. If we take a look on the automatic chart here, we can see that this was a resistance back in August 2022, in February 2023, and in January there as well. So I have all of my fingers crossed that this is going to act as a support now. I would say that's a pretty strong level of support given how strong it was as a resistance. If we also take a look at the wicks of these candles as well, you can see that this was also at around 25,230. So I'm looking at this entire range and waiting and hoping that we do see a bounce within that range of 24,200 to 25,200 on the weekly chart there. If we zoom in a little bit closer, we can make this range a little bit narrower, but you can see on the daily chart there as well, this lower level has been used as a resistance before, used as a support before, used as a resistance again. So that is the major range that I am looking at right now to accumulate some Bitcoin. Obviously nothing is financial advice. That's just what I'm looking at. If we take a look at the 4-hour chart here, on the daily chart again, let's get rid of these yellow lines and let's see if we're still in that descending wedge that we've been talking about here on the channel. So let's go to automatic here. Let's spread this all out. If we take a look at the trend lines here, obviously we have that declining resistance there, and then we also have what we were counting as this descending wedge. So let's see if we have this level of support still in place. So what we've been looking at, what we've been taking is this level of previous resistance here, this level of previous support here. If we take a look at these wicks, this is a very close call at this point in time. A very, very close call. If we take a look at that, you can see we are pretty much on that level of support now. If we don't see a bounce today, or if we just stay where if we don't see a bounce today, or we don't see any more downwards movement, we are still holding on. We're clasping at straws though. If we see a daily candle close below the $25,900 level, that is a break to the downside, and that is something we are going to have to keep a close eye on. But as I said, those levels of previous resistance acting as the support. I'm feeling like that's a pretty positive scenario right now. And I do believe that the USDT FUD, if USDT does continue to hold its peg, which I personally, I feel like I'm giving way too many opinions on today's stream. It's meant to be purely factual here, Jess. We can see here that we have that strong level of support. So that's all I'm saying, and that's all I'm looking at right now. We need to zoom out and look at the bigger time frames and see what's really going on. And that previous level of resistance held incredibly well. So fingers crossed it does on the way up as well. But that is all we have for today. So thank you very much for tuning in as always. And I hope to see you all back here tomorrow for another live stream where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news. Make sure before you click off today's stream to give us a big like, and make sure if you are watching over on Twitter, then come over to YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, press the bell notification button, and I will see you all back here tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye. Goodbye. Now I need to turn it off.